Hi, welcome to my channel. I'm Steve Dan and this is my guitar. If you're just joining us, this is the third episode and last episode in our series on Soul Lament by Kenny Burrell, taken from his 1962 album Midnight Blue. If you are just joining us, I would really highly recommend going back to look at lesson 1 and 2, where we go over the first parts of it, because a lot of what I'm talking about today in this episode is going to be covered in episodes 1 and 2, so I will kind of gloss over them and just reference them. I'd like to say a big thanks to my patrons for supporting me through this series and for voting for this series. If you want to join over on Patreon and join the next vote for the next series, the link is on the screen and in the show notes below. www.patreon.com/Exeter Guitar Lessons, and over there you can get all of the transcriptions and backing tracks and chord scale arpeggio example packs and exercise packs over there. You can get everything that you see for every series that you can find on my YouTube channel, and a few extras as well. I'll be posting as it's seasonal, a new Christmas fingerstyle arrangement. This time I'm going to take on some Martin Taylor stuff for you and transcribe that and put that over on Patreon, so you will only find that over there. Before we move on, I'd like to say a big thanks to my patrons who've just signed up in the last couple of weeks. So, big thanks to Mason, Steve, Tim, Kendall, Jahan, K-Studio Graphics, Edward, Andrew, Tommy, Antonio, Gabe, John, Michael, and Robin, and Kalan as well. Big thanks to you guys, because you do help to keep, well, you and everyone else who's signed up over the last 5 years do help to keep the wheels rolling over here. So if you want to head over to Patreon, then you can get all of the stuff that you see on this YouTube channel and a few extras, and you can vote for the next series as well, which I'll be starting after Christmas. If you don't want to do a subscription, even though it's as little as $3 a month over on Patreon, there is a Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes below, and also I would just love for you to like and subscribe and drop me a comment as well below as well, because that helps the algorithm. Okay, so we're taking a look at bar 73 onwards if you've got your transcription in front of you. Let's get started by taking a look at that, and then we'll dive into it. Here we go. Okay, so a lot of this is standard fare stuff that we've covered in lesson 1 and 2. It's pretty much exactly the same structure. It's just the A section again. He does have his double stop there as well, that George Benson thing that I talked about last time. And we've got the James Bondy chord movement going from the minor 9 through to the flat 13, and then out into the minor 6 as well. He's got a slight variation on the little line, so which again we covered. So he's come back to that 2 semiquavers and a quaver. And he's moving backwards now, including the minor 6 back to the flat 6 again, which he wasn't necessarily doing, so it's like he's improvising it. And we did talk about in the previous couple of lessons how, whether this was composed or whether it was improvised on the spot. We had a comment from someone on video 1 basically talking about how Kenny did say in an interview that this was improvised on the spot. I would probably argue that he had some ideas, but the structure and some of the lines that he's playing was open to improvisation. A lot of jazz players do this, where they will have some kind of preparation, like Miles Davis did for So What, and then the rest is left up to improvisation. And as Kenny was playing this on his own, he had carte blanche to improvise as much as possible on here. We see him move into the 2-5 to nothing, so the A minor to D7, which obviously would go to G but doesn't, and then he goes to C13, which is a tritone sub, and then goes to the B7, and that's a tritone sub of the F sharp, a tritone sub of the 2, which is something that we see quite often in tunes around this time. Gershwin uses this particularly, where he'll do a tritone sub of the 2 chord. So obviously F sharp, a tritone away from that is C, and we've made it a dominant, and that moves nice and fluently, voice leading to B7 as well. And then that's pretty much it for that A section back there again. And then we've got this outro section, which is where we've got the biggest example of Kenny improvising here. So basically the way that this is structured, see this chord movement, and then he'll play a line using pentatonic or blues scale. So the blues scale is this. So the pentatonic scale is this. And it's fairly simple, the first one that he plays. And just to talk about phrasing a little bit here, the phrasing that he's using, good phrasing will be repetition, phrasing of melody. So, using similar notes and repeating them, or developing a melodic line. And then you can also have repetition of rhythmic phrases as well. And that's kind of what he's doing here. He's taking the pentatonic scale and he's repeating a phrase which is a quaver followed by a dotted crotchet. So we're getting that all the way through the pentatonic scale. And then obviously back to the... And just be really careful with the finger picking here. I'm using my annular finger, the A finger here, to get, and I pick for the bottom string. So pick on the bottom string, annular finger on the top string, and then make sure you're arching as much as you can to make those ring. I don't always make them completely ring in my performance of it, and Kenny doesn't either. Sometimes you do catch it if your hand is kind of slightly kind of rescinding backwards a little bit, and you'll catch that top note there, and that's totally fine. It's just all part and parcel of a live performance. So the next one that we've got is and he's going up to this kind of the upper reaches of the minor pentatonic scale. So here is an example of the minor pentatonic scale, but up in the next octave. And some of the stuff that he's using here, he's bringing in a little bit more legato. So legato, if you don't know, is things like slides and hammer-ons and pull-offs and bends, although we don't use them here. But it's any way of getting between two notes nice and smoothly. So here he's using a hammer-on, a nice movement from the ninth into the minor third, and then a slide from the flat 7 up to the octave there. So he's using a hammer-on and a slide. Here's some examples of playing the minor pentatonic using slides, pull-offs, and hammer-ons. So you can take that smorgasbord of legato and use some of that in your own explorations, your own improvisations in this space. And then again, back to another slide. Phrasing very similar to the opening line that he did. Now here he's using some double stops. So the double stop that he's using here, again, this Benson-y fourth C thing. So have a look back at episode 2 to see a dive into how to play the minor pentatonic with some fourths. And then here, this is really, really nice here. This is kind of a very bluesy way of playing it. So you've got this pivot note here, and then he's playing the fourth note going to the sharp 4 or flat 5, the blues note. So, and then down through the flat third to the tonic there. And that's, a thing that you will hear a lot of blues players and a lot of jazz blues players play as well. And then back again. And then some nice space here. So, space, repetition, rhythmic variation, and simplicity as well are all really good examples of good phrasing when you're trying to improvise. He sets it up for going to the 2-5 again, so the A minor, D13, and then slowing down through C13, the tritone, and then B7 altered, so a sharp 5. So we've got this double sharp, F double sharp here, which is your sharp 5, down to that note of B, and then you pause there, so I've put a fermata in the transcription, and then back to this James Bond movement, and then going upwards with your pick, and then we've got this perfect James Bond chord here, the minor major 9 at the end here, so E minor major 9, and that is the James Bond chord if you wanted to know it. It can be put as an E minor major 9 or a B augmented over E, so you kind of takes your choice there. So that is the end of the tune there, and it would be great to hear some of your versions of it, so your performances of it. If you're on Patreon, please feel free to post a version of your performance. It would be really, really great to see that, and I can give you some free feedback as well without you having to have a guitar lesson. Just remember, in this one at the end, we've got more scope for improvisation, so please do try improvising your own lines using some of my advice on legato and phrasing, and using the upper reaches of the minor pentatonic scale. Here is my example of it. I do go all the way up to here, so this minor pentatonic position that we all know, sometimes called the E minor position, or position 1 if you're looking at the caged system. So I move all the way up there, so you can try that if you know that position as well. But here's my example. Feel free to take some of my stuff, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much for sticking around for this series. Don't forget to go back over the other two, and sign up to Patreon if you want to get the example chord scale arpeggio and also my version of this improvisation at the end you're about to see. Link is on the screen and in the show notes below. Buy me a coffee, links there too, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Stick around in the next couple of weeks for a special Christmas piece that I'm going to be doing. But for now, here is my improvisation at the end of Soul Lament. I'll see you next time. Bye.